All in favor? I have a motion to approve the minutes for our meeting on the 22nd.
I move to approve the minutes of, I didn't say August 23rd, but second meeting in August anyway.
Right. 22nd. Oh, no. That needs to be just adjusted the date.
Okay. Do I have a second?
The
All in favor? Okay. Any public comment? Okay, let's move on to any correspondences.
one that I can think of right now is a little longer, but we'll be taking that up a bit. I gave you one about the lawn. Oh, yep. But, yeah, so kids that will have another chance to put out a bid for the lawn.
On correspondence, is there, at one point, we talked about having email that went to all of the school committee members, I guess. So that we can see any correspondences that came in. Are we still thinking of doing this, still support to do that? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
We will, yeah.
Great. Anyone else have any correspondences? Okay. I do not have a report. So I will leave that to Anne.
So under mine, I'm gonna keep it kind of short. We did have, the work done on the bus over the weekend. I don't know if people saw that. Kevin took a lap around with the bus to show Rocky the routes. Because he thought he was gonna have jury duty these 2 days, and he got out of jury duty, but he's got jury duty next month as well. So Rocky has agreed to sub on the bus. And so when he was taking him around, one of the lights went on, he calls down to bus place down in Kennebunk, and they sent somebody up. Kevin went over on Skip and got him, and he came over and worked mine. And we'll be getting a bill on that, but they got taken care of before we started school.
And Rocky is,
Eliza Jane's husband.
Thank you.
oh, okay.
Retired, but
He used to be a bus driver in Cumberland.
Yeah, I just didn't, but, I know the face, put a name. Okay. It's great to have stuff.
yes, it is. Nothing I hate more than putting out that text or that message that said. No, we don't have a driver. We did our mandatory training last week, and we also had time to get together and talk about our traditions, because we have new staff and gonna get people up and running on what we do around here. We also had time for planning of different specials and different plannings within the classroom. I'll remember.
Since you brought up the specials, can you go through what exactly we are offering specials?
Yes. I'm gonna start and you guys chime in when I figure out. On Monday, we have wellness. On Tuesday, we have art. On Wednesday, we have PE. And on Thursday, we have band, and on Friday, we have music. And what day is library?
We have library on Monday.
Oh, okay.
What was Friday?
Music.
Same as
Did we ever think about posting like just on Shpig or a Spanish teacher? Cause I think like the posting in certain schools is world language teacher, but if we're doing like Spanish online, I mean, you've been able to get one person to Island and there's lots of new people for that. Or people on Island. I think the online program seems to be great, but just as not.
Can I add something? Yeah, there, we do have an opportunity through the TLC Inter Island, collaborative that we're working with, where there's, a woman with her first language is Spanish, and she's offering the Spanish for pre-K through grade 5, so like an older version, younger version, and we can do both. Maybe, I heard that the students really liked the online program, but I feel like it's an opportunity we should probably try to catch up.
And would she come here in person and do that?
No, it's online, because she's out on, she's Iowa. It's like we do the inter-island reading groups, where.
It's like a Zoom.
Yeah,
more or less.
yeah, it is. And, when Heidi and I went to the retreat, there were just a lot of opportunities being put out there, and we had meetings this afternoon, and that's one of them. So if that's interesting to other people.
I also mentioned that to Penny to see if she can incorporate that into her lessons and having that teacher come in and just work with the kids once a month, just to enhance it.
But I mean, whatever you guys, I would go with the teacher, like you guys, think would be best in regards to format for students. Do we pay for the program? We're paid for already.
Yes, it's already basic. Yep. But we can, we can put it out there. For the person who is a Spanish speaking and who would be, much better than.
Yeah, the online program is really just, it's being led by Penny, but is it like workbook, like how, what is the format?
I think it's a speak and repeat.
Maybe that person would be.
Right, and the person that we were speaking of, she does for the early childhood, it's more of a song and interactive kind of session where, and then she tailors it different to the older children.
And for the older children, it's twice a week, but I think that might be for middle school. Some of the islands have grades all the way up to 8 for high school, so I just would have to check out. What age?
Are any of those other islands, they're getting Monkey and then the Tasman was out there, they use Muzzy. So I'm just wondering if other islands involved in the TLC are using a Muzzy as a supplemental program, which would be easier to use some of that as the full, like the full week or somehow.
Yes, other
And
islands
use them
are
with-
using Lizzie.
Yeah.
We did hear that. I think that's all. Do we report from you guys? Just that today was the first day of school. We had a great first day. Kids had art. They put some art on the walls. It was really fun to see the pre-K in the building. And it's super fun. And to just see all of the kids come together in new groupings was really, I think, a really nice shift. And I think there's gonna be some really good positive social things that come out of that. So yeah, we had a great day from our perspective. I'm sure they're tired, it's getting back. It was really hot, but we did, pros and cons at the end of the day. And the only con I heard was that it was hot. Yeah. They seemed happy, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was just nice to have the kids in the building.
Yeah, it's same, in our room, and the kids, we were able to kind of really walk through the whole structure of the day. In a very watered down play-based, start to introduce, but everybody was eager to try and, it was great.
Good.
Okay.
I just wanted to say the communication has been great leading up to the start of school from a parent's perspective. The multiple emails, the details were great. The email from superintendent covered everything. I mean, it was just top notch. And then the packet that was sent home today was super organized, the folder there, and just a great start from my perspective as a parent. Thank you.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and they are both Stafford homes for like the younger grades. It's fun to go through them, and they were very excited. And I love that we made some points for the flip top, because they, you know, the younger age, sometimes we're like,
They're like, so.
they're like, yeah, by the time we get to them, and then they're tell us that, it was great. Thank you.
Awesome. And I had a chance to speak to a few kids throughout the day, when one of them at the end of the day, how did it go? And one of the students in Mary's class just loved the new classroom, loved being in the new classroom. And one of the things that Mary and Heidi and I talked about was, although this has been a big switch and change for Sheboygan Island School, we got talking about our experience being in big schools, because we all came from big schools. And every year in a big school on the mainland, you get a new teacher. And so this is kind of like big school feeling where you think that you get a new teacher each year. But we're not gonna do it then.
Awesome, okay, let's move on to some old business, a little update on the internet.
So Sarah and I have been working on that, and we contacted, that group that she'd been working with, and we jumped up through the emails again and asked for where's the contract. They sent it to us, and it had, just like it had before, it had the different, stages that we could use, and we said we choose this one, and it was $4,000. That's what we had agreed that we would get. And so the email went back and said that that's what we wanted. And the company sent an invoice for $14,000. And I said, so Sarah and I went back and forth, and I said, that's not what we agreed on. And so then they sent a contract for us. And in the contract, it was very interesting. It had no specifics of what we wanted, no price of what we wanted, but just, if you fail on this, big letters and all this stuff. And I said, Sarah, this something not right. So we emailed the guy again, and I think Sarah actually spoke to him on the phone and said, this isn't what we asked for. He said, no, this is what, this is what you guys all agreed on. And we said, yep, that's what we agree on. Hung up the phone. Well, it was in 2 hours. We got another invoice, this time for only $12,000. And I said, Sarah, something is just not right here. The left hand of that company doesn't know what the right hand's doing, and we need to take a step back and figure it all out. So we put our thinking caps on and figured out what to do. And I said, we're part of the main network. And I said, let me give them a call and find out what's going on. So I called and I explained to him what's going on. And I said, so when information coming to the building is fine, but once it gets to the building, it's got so many firewalls and whatnot to get through that it slows it right down. And he said, okay. And I said, so what do we need? Do we need a new provider coming to the school? He goes, no. He said, we do that, and that's fine. He said, what you need is you need somebody to work on the firewall, and Sarah said there's some switches that need to be replaced. So I said, what do we do here? And so they couldn't, network main couldn't give us any companies to go with, who would you recommend we go with? And the guy there's like, oh, we really can't do that. I said, okay, I understand. So let's pretend like I'm your mother. Who would you, who would you say I should go with? And he gave me a couple things. So we'll start researching those to see what happens. And Sarah's gonna also contact, SCD 51 to see if they're tech people can come out and figure out what it is that needs to happen. But I mean, it's ridiculous when I'm working here. If I wanna get to my email and have it load, I sit at my desk and I log on to the rec department. And it goes right, I get the stuff right away. And then when I need to print, I just go down and I hit back into this network and it goes to the printer. So I have to go back and forth on what network I'm on, which, okay, but you know, right now I've got it working for me, but I would imagine when the classrooms start using their internet and special ed classrooms start using their internet, it's gonna not be fun. But we'll keep working on it.
So did you and Sarah kind of come up with a timeline as to when all the calls are gonna be out and stuff, because we're now paying her hourly? She's done the contract.
Yeah.
So that's just something we wanna keep in
So,
mind.
and I'm doing the legwork and just
Okay.
running the fire.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did that original company, they performed no service for us at any point, so we owe them zero, and we're just terminating
Yeah.
a contract or whatever we had with them?
We had nothing
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's
discouraging.
big setback,
Yeah,
yeah.
And you
I mean, I'm fine with moving on from them, but it just unfortunate that it took months and months.
And you mentioned SAB 51, but wasn't there communication with Sarah with Yarmouth?
yes.
So, but Yarmouth doesn't have anything more to offer us.
Correct.
So we're reaching out to them. Okay, thank you.
And Starlink doesn't work, you just say with the main network.
That's not our issue.
It's not what's coming in.
It's not what's coming in. It's
The
once it's
building
in the,
is the issue.
once it's in the building, once it gets to our. Try to get past our server, that's where it is. So the information coming to the building is top notch. But it's once it gets here. I think, I don't know if you remember, they said it comes at us like through a fire hose, and then once it hits our firewall, it's like a dribbling. One hose, so the information just is. Following. We keep working.
Back to school.
So we had our meet and greet. I don't remember when that was. I think like forever ago. The 23rd, yeah, from 4:30 to 6, and of the 16. Of the 16 kids, we had 13 here, so it was quite a success. The kids got a chance to kind of feel the school out and walk around their classrooms, and there was different activities for them to do in each classroom, and parents got to meet the teachers got to meet the parents, and then we got to observe the kids a little bit. It was fun. We got the packets all mailed out. I guess I jumped the gun a little bit because you hadn't gotten yours yet, but it came in the next day. We have the daily schedules out, and I know that Heidi and Mary have their schedules out, and it's chock-a-block full. You guys don't have a minute's rest. And they have Penny blocked off as well between she starts off in the K and moves to the big kids in the afternoon. Our special ed teacher in the mornings is in with Mary and observing and the two kids that need services in that room. So it's off to a good start. I don't know if you want to add anything.
Are those schedules something that we as school committee?
It's,
I
yeah.
mean, I know there's a lot of communication that goes out. I don't.
Well,
I'll
just,
listen to
just
Bill.
it's just, just reading it reading at 9, math at 10.
And
But yeah, they can share with
but you can share it with me if you want.
Okay.
as long as everything's
It's
in
the
there.
same, so far it's the same as the one I passed out of the lab, when
Okay.
I was here. But we are tweaking it based on some of the new things like Spanish and just how things are going. So, yeah.
It's only sort of thinking, well, where can people, where might volunteers be able to be helpful once we get it, but we can just reach out at that time.
I'll do that.
And the last thing is for the community open house. We talked about having that on Tuesday, the 26th. You say 4:30 to 6 again. And we would advertise that so that the community can come in.
Is that when our next meeting is, or?
No, the
Okay.
week after.
Okay.
That's tentative.
Are we gonna know Friday?
Probably to, I'm sure I'll get a chance to record it longer. Unless you guys can call it from now.
So we're good.
And in the packet that you sent home, if the link to the website was to the old webpage, not the should be school, the new one. I don't know if that was a copy and paste thing or whatever, but if it was, it could be corrected for future correspondence, I think that would be good.
Any other questions on the back to school? It's taking the bus, once kids riding bikes at the end of the day. They love riding, they love riding the bikes.
Ready for winter?
It was interesting that, the part that scares me most with their bikes is from here to the corner, because they whip around that corner quicker and quick. And so we just remind them.
I would love if Penny, like she used to do, I don't know if she still does, like the biker safety. The parking lot, I would love if she did that again. I think it's really good for them and even for like the students to walk. Like that corner, because we've had lots of conversations about that corner too, because you just can't. See, in budget, yeah, it would be great if she could do that biker safety again.
I think she does it every year. Last year, I don't know how she got them, but there was a bunch of helmets that she had available for the kids.
The
They all-
recreation
They all
center,
got new helmets.
Yeah.
With
Yeah,
white
they-
ones.
Well, they got those at the fire station this summer.
right, they all, the ones that Penny had are all over at the rec center. Because we asked for them and had some at the fire safety open house this summer, and they're still, from what I understand, more.
Yeah.
They just got a. I'm sorry, that.
But even if it was a day like kids knew, bring your bike to school that day just to do the biker safety stuff. And that's how I know she did it. It
And
was
what-
great.
Yes, and one of the other things that she does at recess is she'll put the cones out front so that the cars can't come in. And the kids just whip around the building on their bikes, which is, just great exercise for them. And I didn't able to do it today. They were basically in the woods today, just trying to stay cool. But no, that, the biker safety is a big deal. The other thing, that corner down there, last week when I was going down to the town office in the van. The garbage truck. Flips that corner. And I was coming at the same time and I had to jam the brakes and pull ditch side. Cause he just cut the corner so sharp.
Yeah, they're always racing for the barge.
Scared me.
Yeah, well, it's worth sharing back.
Yeah.
Because if they're reminded of that.
Yeah, cause they go by the school.
And one other piece of just the biking, I know for after-school programs last year, because that would like come up for my son to bike, like, we're gonna cover further back, but it was just, teachers like really pushing for them to leave when the teacher is leaving. 'Cause I know sometimes they're like getting on their bike and they linger, you know, on their bikes and the thing, and then they head out, so it'd just be great, like, I think for the teachers too, if they leave 5 minutes before. They like to
So they don't decide as a group to stay.
Yeah,
The
it
teachers
is.
leave
It takes
and
them a
then-
bit to get their helmet and everything on, you know, and I don't think it's a intentional, but the teachers have to leave to catch the boat, so it's just a heads up of that, like, process. It's something to the-
All right, let's move on to the water update.
So we're hoping to get an email from Carol over the weekend, but what she told us last week when we were here, and John Rich was here, and the guy from level 2 testing was here. And what they did was they tested the water in the well. And then the only thing that was in there was the little trace of PFAS that we already knew we had. So coming into the building, just like the internet, it's fine. Once it gets into the building and goes through all the filtration system, that's where it all goes haywire. So they unhooked it and they tested it, and the one thing they got was PFAS. So they bleached it. Because it smelled like bleach in here, and then they ran the water through a while, and then we took another sample, and we're waiting for that sample to come back. And so we'll still be boiling the water until that sample comes back. So right now, we do have the bubbler, and we do have hot water on the bubbler as well. You see the cat one, so the kids won't use the hot water portion of it. Penny, Polly has boiled water in the fridge, 2 buckets, all set to rock and roll whenever she needs it. We wash our hands with antibacterial soap in the bathrooms, and we use hand sanitizer as well. Until further notice, right, for lunches, we're using paper plates and paper bowls, so that we don't have to run them in the dishwasher. And the dreaded plastic spoons and forks.
There's probably a question for Carol, but has it been discussed about having the UV water treatment after the PFAS system?
That was a question, that they're looking to.
If it's just the bacteria, I would think that's what that's for. Hopefully, I think that's a fairly simple installation. All right, well, anyway, yeah, she would know that, so.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, so let's move on to some new business and some policies.
I am going to inundate you with policies tonight. The first one, got sent to you, and then, I want to thank Nancy for helping to, revise it. And I put the new revised one in your packet. It's called the Shabiga Island School Toilet Training Policy. And what we've taken out of it is, the words preschool or pre-K, and it's just our school, toilet training policy. We'll give you a second to just kind of read through it.
Did this come from the MSNA?
Right.
Okay.
And do you want me to speak to that? It's really just the main reason for me is I'm not particularly concerned with exactly what kind of policy we have on it, but that there is a policy so that if there becomes an issue for typically with the youngest children we have or any children, that it doesn't feel like it's targeted to a particular child. Hopefully we will never need to use it, but in order to keep this a healthy learning environment for everybody, we have to have something that can meet the child's needs who's having difficulty and get them in a setting that they can get the help that they need to get the training down. And also maintain the learning environment for the kids who are in the classroom.
Is it standard for elementary schools to have?
And most preschools.
Yeah.
Even private preschools. At a certain age. It's obviously for to go into the preschool.
I wonder,
Okay, go ahead.
although I was just gonna say, I wonder though if it does need to be a pre-K policy only for toiletry, because I would think if it was like kindergartner or first grader, you wouldn't have them like staying, like it could be something medical or something like that, so I just, it might be.
Is there a clause in there that's one of the first things that they check is whether it's medical. Some of the policies do have that. I don't know what this one landed on.
We don't have any language in here, it's something that should be relative to a child with an IEP or, because of course, you would facilitate that.
I'm guessing, and I don't know if it would become a 504, if it was a medical, need, something that we might act on.
Does that need to be in this policy stating that child is on IEP or 504, that we will refer to that?
I would think that the 504 would cover that.
I think it would, I think it would kind of almost be separate from this,
Yeah.
if it's a medical issue.
Yeah, because if it's a 504 or a IEP, that's what governs the child, not necessarily a policy.
Yeah, and this isn't meant for, I mean, we do expect that there will be accidents. You know, it's not meant for that. This is meant for somebody who's had trouble for a long period of time. And the family needs help addressing it.
Especially with the younger kids, because in a case setting, we're talking about a classroom here and the bathroom there, whereas when they're in the childcare setting, there's usually a much better setup to help support them. Just don't want children to not be supported in that situation.
No, and I think it's good because it does take away from the learning in the classroom and it takes a lot, so I think it's really good. I just had the question of like, if the grade school versus if that, you know, because I think it's really important in regards to students entering pre-med. And that just is my other piece. I didn't know, like, if the information on like the last two paragraphs, like about like how they dress, you know, dressing independently and all that, if that's more information we give at the school, or if the policy is more about, you know, you can't. Like I thought, like one of the things about the policy, we want to make sure that your students not body training can't.
Right. Well, this kind of politely says it. You know, you don't wanna send your child in, you know, your 3-year-old in overalls and think that they can,
Right. Okay.
you know, that's kind of what that kind of thing. And just kind of telling you about the day. There were 2 highlights, we call them, not incidents, highlights around the bathroom today with the preschool. First one was one of the gentlemen preferred to have somebody in the bathroom with them because it's scary. And all the way to the bathroom with them. And then the second one was we found that they're not strong enough to open the doors.
Didn't I mention that earlier? I said,
Yeah.
yeah, it's,
But
getting stronger.
they used their outside voice and they got everybody sit there and they knew.
Were they unable to open the door or they couldn't get out once they were in?
They couldn't get out once they were in it. So they were
And
in.
then there was a teacher close by, but it happened to be at bus time, like close to bus time, so the teacher had just skipped out to tuck something in a backpack, and then when the door shut and the child met the door.
It was my daughter and she did not even mention it when she got home, so just so we all. Right.
I was gonna tell you, great set of lungs.
We will get out.
Oh, yeah.
We used to have a wedge there that kids had the choice.
Yeah, we have that.
Yes.
We have that now.
That was.
On- on both of them, because the stores are heavy.
They are.
Yeah.
That was one, with the new construction, that was one of the things when it was like, whoa, these doors are heavy. They're much heavier than the old one.
Yeah, but those, but I mean, luckily, you know, the two incidences, we learned something today that we didn't. We might not have anticipated, so I just put a wedge in there and because you're behind a petition. That's your clients. And if you want the door shut, you can.
Welcome back. I just wanted to make sure, do you know the two teachers? This is Heidi Donnelly and Mary Train. This is Beverly Johnson. You're related to the trainings in the young one?
Bev was on the school committee here since the beginning of the township day for a number of years and also worked as a tech support.
Yeah,
tech
and
teacher
I was listening to the meeting and that's why I came up.
She's also a grandparent to us.
Yes.
What, yeah, to.
I think I spoke with you years and years ago when we moved to Cumberland and I called to see if my son would come up here.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have, can we jump back to the technology?
Yeah. Is that what you're here for? I was listening to what Ann had to say about her computer, and I listened a little bit last week and heard another, but I wasn't quite sure what was going on because I've been out of the loop. I was working with Sarah back in the winter at some
Right.
point, and I don't know whatever happened with that. We had some people, you know, studying, we had the guys from Yarmouth over here,
Right.
and went through this stuff. I took the firewall out that we had from when we were with Cumberland. And I had the main network, they redid their router so that we had their own firewall without having the other one. And this was back 6 or 7 months ago.
Mhm.
And when I installed everything, I installed a outlet in every one of the rooms, except this room did not have any power coming down to it, any wires. But in each of the rooms is an outlet. So that's what made me think, you said you keep switching around and it's probably your computer's fault or somebody with your computer. But you do have an outlet and I have this, I could let you borrow it and try it. And you just hook right into the outlet and you'll be automatically connected to your computer. So it won't be switching around from the different wireless.
Okay,
And right now you're getting 40, I just did some tests and you're getting 40 to 75, 40 down to 75 up, 75,000. And that's really unbelievable. I don't know what the problem is. I've got 2 access points, one in that room now. It used to be, it's always moved. There was one out there and there was one in the back and we moved it into the dorm. So it'd be more directly related to the kids that were using the computers. And I know that Sarah was having lots of little difficulties, and I think it had a lot to do with more with the smart, I think. It might have to do with the smart board or some of the computers, the new technology. They are old, very inexpensive access points that I ordered. They only cost 150 at the time. Now we're looking at ones that might cost 500. It might be a good idea to update those, but I mean, I can help. I'm available to help with that and also get you so you have a computer that works. So that's why I came up.
So
Yes, thank you.
my computer works, when I sit in my office and I open it. It just automatically goes to the rec department.
Which doesn't make any sense. The rec has terrible internet. Because I know.
Yeah.
It's terrible. But here it's really good and there's something you need to do. There's something with your computer to keep it from happening. But you can wire directly with this, right to the wall. It'll go right to there, so you don't have to worry about it switching around.
And in your settings, maybe do the default to CIS.
There is, and there's a way that you can block it, because I had that same issue at MSA 51, picking up in middle school when I was in the elementary.
Yeah, that's, we've never been here at the same time to try to coordinate that.
You're coming down.
And then I had a question to the teacher, if you had any, to the chair, have you had any issues with the internet since you've been here?
Not since I've been working with the kids, I've been able to get on in the classroom time for my internet.
Yeah, mine's been okay. I used a smartboard today. Yeah, it's a little slow, but it's work. Good.
Anyways, I think a lot of these issues probably with the more with how they're being used, rather than spending $20,000 or whatever, I was hearing some numbers.
Yeah. Well, as soon as I got, received that invoice for 14,000, I went, absolutely.
Yeah,
So now you say the access points, if we look in, like,
I think it would be smart to try, I mean, some of these homes have more computers going than you have in the school. And they're doing fine, even with less internet. And I do think that maybe there's some sort of a router system, that we could, an inexpensive router system that could be used. That or add access, more access points. I think we should look into it again, see how you guys are doing and see how the computers are working and people. The town spends a lot of money, unless you're gonna get some sort of special grant, which I don't always agree with either, wasting money if you don't use.
No. We'll chat, I'll give you a call.
Okay.
Call in the morning.
Well, and I'll just stay the rest of the meeting. And I'll leave this with you, but I want to get this back or order another. I'm going away for a week.
I'll have,
I'll leave it here and we'll try it. And I'll be back next week.
So,
I'll use it tomorrow, and when are you leaving?
I'm leaving tomorrow morning. I'm flying down to North Carolina and coming back next Monday or Tuesday. So I'll leave this on your desk and it's just easy to look into your computer.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll leave it there Tuesday. It'll be here Tuesday for you. Okay.
I just want to go back to the agenda. So there's a couple items that we will not be doing tonight. The budget, we do not have any of the budget stuff right now. So hopefully we'll have that for next meeting. Do we want to go to the staffing? There's just a lot of policies and I feel like you guys, give you guys some homework and we can go through these individually and then come back with our suggestions instead of spending all of our time individually reading these and whatnot. I don't know if you guys want to comment on that. If you want to sit here and read through all of them, we can do that.
well, don't we usually make the motion on the first, this is the first reading? And
Yeah,
then
the toilet one will be the first reading.
Okay.
Make a motion on the first reading, and then you can read through it and then make changes.
So do we need to do that for all of them?
Nope. Just this one.
Okay. So do I have a motion for that then? Because there's like 4 or
Right.
5 other
Right,
policies
well,
in your packet.
my only concern is that we're discussing a lead time, but I guess it will be different this year because we won't have a policy.
I think, we do the first reading today, and in 2 weeks do the second reading, will be. If everything goes like it did today, which it is, for the next 882 days, it'll go just as smooth as this.
Would it be appropriate to share a draft or not?
With the parents.
I mean, how do you feel? I just don't want this to blindside somebody if there is a concern and then, oh, now they come up with a policy. I'm just
Right.
trying to,
I think it's important to at least let families know that the board is working on a policy. Whether you want to share the details or not, I think it's up to you.
I can send this in an email and a draft to the parents and.
as a parent, what do you think? I just think it's, because if we do it in 2 weeks and we're in the 3rd week of school. And, yes. Okay,
Timing, yeah, I agree with you.
I make a motion on the first reading of the shipping out report.
I have a second.
Second,
Any discussion? All in favor?
other than send out a draft.
Yeah. So with the other policies that we have here, just a little FYI. You have the required policies the list I gave. And, the ones that are circled. These are what the state and fed say that we have to have for policies. And the ones that are circled are the ones that we still don't have up on our website. So I've taken the first 5 and given them to you. And what I would suggest is, I will put them on, I'll put them on the internet or, in Word. And then next Tuesday, this is Tuesday, I'll be here. If anybody wants to come and work on it on Tuesday night, Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening, I'll wait and take the 8 o'clock, vote again. And, get them hammered out so that when they go out for the first reading next, they'll be nice and clean and everybody will have a clean copy.
I think that sounds great. Jeff, I know you were involved in some of the policies a long time ago, or you didn't you come in? And I think to approve these, I'm thinking that there's supposed to be a staff member and you and the board members. So the question is in terms of like, we could work on them, but we could, I'm not sure what the ratio is to actually bring it for us to totally review it and then bring it to a school committee meeting.
So what I'll do is, I'll put it on in Word. And everybody in this room will have access to it. Okay. So they can make suggestions.
So I mean, by word, you mean that's a Google Doc?
Yes.
Okay.
Great.
It works.
Yeah, so we're, yeah, that right. So,
Great, thank you for doing that.
Yes.
Does anyone have any else about that, what our plan is with that?
And then all the ones on the website are ones you do have. And that's both at rest of them, so like, I know these are the mandated ones. But like, we have to have them on our website, but do we have all the other ones done?
Yes.
Okay.
That, let me go back and say. Under CBDA, we don't need that because it's superintendent's contract allocation of services when you're in a union, and we're not in a union. So I crossed that out. And then, the EEAEAA. You remember, we did those ones. They're not posted, but I know we have them, so I'm just, so, I've got to have, I think, Kristen still has a pile that she hasn't logged on yet. Also on the back side, if we look, IKF, I do not believe we need to have it, graduation requirements, because we only go up to grade 5. Another one that I don't think we need to have is JFC. Because, K to 5, you're not allowed to drop out of school. So I don't believe we need that one either. Oh, and the KBF, parent involvement for Title I. Because we don't have title, we don't receive any title in the funds. So I will be. Moving on. Great.
Oh, that's how you're done. So let's move on to a staffing update.
So, sorry, did you say that FY 23 budget finalized is not gonna be discussed tonight?
Correct.
It's because we don't have it, is that it, but it is like final, like it is done, we don't have any more journal entry stuff going on there,
So when we met, they said that they had one more, the last pay, 2 weeks ago. They had the journal entry, those paid back, and they had not done that at this time. They hadn't done it, and, she was supposed to have it done, by today, but she became ill and was not able to get it done. I emailed Vika today and I said, and when you were there, I said, that is a two monstrous jobs that you're undertaking. And she thought that she could get them done, but she became ill and all bets were off at that point.
Okay,
My concern is that, you know, I know one of her staffers is leaving for an extended vacation. She's needs to hire somebody else, and it looks like a lot of the, you know, day-to-day stuff is gonna kind of fall onto her. And that now this information is gonna keep getting pushed back. So, I mean, that is,
So the FY 23 budget finalized in the journal entries. Vika does that, so it's not, she's not waiting for anybody else to do that. And the review of the FY 24 budget from July 1st to now. What she had to do is she had to hand
she had to hand input.
all the cost center numbers. And that's when I said to her, that's huge. And she said she just needed to be home for an extended amount of time so that she could get that without being disturbed. And I totally understand that, you know, but becoming sick in the middle of last week.
And this is something that the old system that we were still using and the new system that what you write in, we won't merge.
This is the system that we use, or that the town uses, the Trio system. She has to upload all those numbers back in. For the school.
To answer your question, no, I don't think it merged.
And even if the journal entries aren't done next time, can we still have? Because I mean, it would be, she has done.
For FY 23, I know the numbers that need, you know, we have a balance.
Yeah.
And I know the number that needs to be subtracted out of that, so that we can do, kind of a rough copy of it. But my guess is, I mean, she had a setback because she got sick, and my guess is, I know because she'll work her and she'll get it done, and she apologized for, you know, for not having it, and I don't, you know,
No, I mean, it was totally
Yeah,
understandable. I was just
totally
wondering if
unexpected.
we're gonna be able to get it next meeting, but if not, like,
I'm gonna, if I had to guess, I'd have it right next Tuesday.
so do we still have to make motions as a school committee on what costs, which cost centers that were over expended, we have to move money in?
Yeah.
Can I request that be a specific agenda item, so we know ahead of time, which cost centers and,
Yeah, I'll have my spreadsheet for you.
yeah, but as like, yeah, as a specific agenda item, not just, you know, kind of a budget
Yeah.
agenda item. That'd be great.
So instead of just saying FY 23 finalized, just,
Yeah, it's just so that we know ahead of time, which cost centers to be looking at and where potentially there is money that that can be moved from to cover the cost overruns of another cost center.
yeah, where you're recommending the big money to.
that spreadsheet that I have.
Yeah,
I'll send
and yeah,
that
and you're
out.
just saying, like, I recommend this, taking from this, you know.
Yes, I will do that.
Thanks.
Move on to, staffing update.
Staffing update, special ed, we still have no bites on that. When I look on serving schools, it looks like we've got lots of hits. but no takers. We did have a meeting, between myself and, Judy and Anya and Mary Holt on Friday, just to get Mary Holt up to speed with all of Anya's work. And Mary worked today, in Mary's classroom. And then she worked on the computer, getting his programs up and running. So he feels comfortable, I feel comfortable, I think it's going to work for as long as it needs to work.
And we're gonna consistently keep up,
Yeah.
changing the date and uploading that to certain
Yeah,
schools.
what I do is I pull it offline. And I whip out wait 30 seconds and then I put it back online, which brings it back up to the top.
And Long Island is looking for somebody for 10 hours. You,
We reached out, but they haven't heard anything. But I'll reach out again tomorrow to see how they're.
well, just if we know somebody that wanted to work fewer hours, or if they had somebody who wanted more, that we would communicate with one another.
We did communicate with Long Island and said, if we can combine the two, that would be fantastic.
And could we potentially make it like the label be elementary or maybe some special education teacher? Because like if you're looking as a certified teacher, like, you want high school or elementary. And is it possible to say that requires a 282 for a conditional? Or can we not do conditional?
I could put on there or certifiable.
Okay. And is it, you guys may speak to this more, but is it possible to remove the RTI part? I just feel like for 60%, like the special education and the RTI teacher, like that was a position we hired because Anya was working on certification, right?
Yeah.
She was a regular ed teacher. And so, I mean, I'd imagine they'll have interventions to offer students, but when it's like labeled as a special education teacher, and then the description is also about RTI, I mean, an RTI teacher.
Yep.
I feel like that could,
Yes, I can take that off.
I don't know, maybe-
Gotta get a fight first.
yeah, but I just think like managing, but I think managing IEPs is a little bit different than like developing interventions per grade level or hybrid.
And those yearly separate jobs, and the
Yeah.
RTI job is considered a really big job now
Yeah.
because of all of the changes. So that could be an intimidating thing to see that would be running both those things. So they might help.
And is there, I'm thinking not, but could you have a tech 3 provide some of the RTI underneath the guidance of,
The classroom teacher, yes.
yeah, so I'm only sort of looking at,
That's what we.
I don't want to wear out our current person, you know.
But that's what we did, that's what we pushed for last year. Yeah, was that.
Okay. Yeah. So depending on what applicants we get. If we could lighten Mary's load by having a tech, does that make any sense? Another ed tech, or would we be, what I'm trying to do is figure if Mary wasn't working 60%, if she was working less, if she wanted to. And then if we had somebody supporting. Or even if that was a short term. I don't know, I'm just trying to think outside the box of
Yeah.
how to. Give the kids the support they need, and it's kind of like where you can. Use a PA or a nurse instead of the doctor.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know, is there another way of. Working with this?
We'll be, we can certainly look at that. But
And
you're not-
also
but you're not-
maybe, like flexible hours for the 60% to understand.
Yes, but you're not talking about the RTI part of it, you're talking about the special ed part of it?
No, well, Mary has to, you have to have a special ed write the IEPs and things like that, but I'm trying to think of not knowing the services that students are getting, what if any of them could be delivered with somebody with fewer credentials than Mary.
Yeah.
That's,
Teachers are allowed to do that legally, and I think one of the benefits of being really small is that there are some schools that rely on the teachers to do tier 1, tier 2,
Right,
and
yeah.
so I think that can be managed as teachers. Once we get rolling, we can do a lot of that work because we can pull level 1, we can pull level 2 previously.
I'm just trying to think of it as a different shape.
Correct.
And last question, is Mary doing 60%? Or is she doing less than, is she doing the 60% position or is the one is less than?
She is going to work as much as she needs to do to fulfill the IEPs. And so we're still trying to, she was working today to kind of figure that out.
And are we doing a contract with her, like hourly rate that we have to approve?
Yes. No, that we do not keep doing. Judy and I worked out.
There are no warrants today as the printer is broken at the town. So if you guys have any suggestions on what you'd like on the agenda for next meeting?
Just real quick, on in your sheet, in your packet, is for September 5. These were the topics that you asked to talk about. Budget, information about Little Casco Bay. And I wrote on there, Mary Train is in contact with somebody from the Golf with Maine Institute to help set that up. Check with Carol White about watering the plants and gardens with the school water. And not at this time. I have spoken to Morgan about coming to our November 7th meeting. And I spoke to his mom and I told him that I would send a reminder. He said, do I get to make a speech?
I'd like to kind of see what people think about changing the date. So we're meeting with the town of Yarmouth on the 14th, and I think that would be information that might be beneficial for us to bring to Yarmouth, maybe. I don't know how other people think about that, maybe having them come prior to that meeting, just so that if there's anything we can relay to them, that's our time to really do it. That's what we can.
I think we've had students come in a little bit early on the past. They haven't really got a chance to get in the swing of things in Yarmouth.
Okay.
So I think waiting till November would make more sense. So he gets a feel for what the classes are like and how. And the most important thing for us is that we prepare him for the classes in Yarmouth. And getting a couple months under his belt to really know how he feels on that is, I think.
He came up the dock today looking very, very confident there.
Okay.
Very confident, but excited.
And we have lots of opportunities to share feedback with Yarmouth, so it's not like
That's a good start.
that.
The open house, student testing results from last year, still working on that. The after school programs for next year, with the rec department, Monday is going to be adventure with Penny, and that's gonna start next Monday. The recreation department has Tuesdays, and they're not gonna start until the 19th. Wednesday is STEM with Mary and Heidi, and that will start tomorrow, and Heidi's got tomorrow. Thursday will be the rec department, and their first Thursday will be September 21st. I will say that the kids all, I'm not sure your class, Mary, but I know that Heidi's class got a chance to rotate through the STEM lab. And they were so excited in there. They have a bushel of Legos. And I don't know how you tore those kids away from that, but but they're pretty excited about it. And we did communicate with the pre-K, with families, and it was from 8:30 to 11:30. Except on Fridays.
This sounds like, but like just maybe sending out, if a person could potentially send out a bus schedule of pre-K or a half day.
Oh,
So parents know when to expect students to come home and even the 3:15 and the, you know, and we always get the like coming to school, but we haven't gotten the going home, so it's like hard for parents to know when to expect their kids to be arriving home.
the pre-K, we could probably do fairly easy. The after-school, not so easy because it all depends on who's riding the bus. And not a lot of,
Yeah,
not a lot of kids ride the.
and they leave at 3 or 3:15.
Three. Um. Also, the pre-K day on Friday is different. They stay through lunch. And I'm not sure I want to say this, but I'm gonna say this. From 11:30, 11:45 to 12. They will be with Sharon Trace. And they'll have just
Shorter than that,
more
more like 20 to 25.
yes. That's good, yeah. So they will be just doing some sing-alongs with her.
Yes.
Yeah. And gotta hear this loud and clear. They will have, music with Miss Trace, just a little bit with no concert expectations. With no concert expectations. But that was something that they could do to fill the time and Sharon's here and she will work on kids.
So add something for the next agenda.
Yeah,
You were gonna
go
look at
ahead.
list. So I think it would be good if we could maybe even put up on the big board or something, our website and do kind of a thorough website review. And look at what we would like to have kind of changed and what's working there, what's not. For instance, when you click on the bus vote schedule, or vote schedule, maybe it just links to the CPC's website, which is nice, but that doesn't have the school votes on there. And like Courtney's mentioned before, like what do the votes run when there's a snow day, like what it kind of, it was a little more specific to the school side of the vote schedule versus just their vote schedule. Maybe that could be something that we could look at, or maybe we could look at kind of a new things for 23-24 school year, tab on the website, taking some of the stuff that's a little bit outdated off.
And notice the teachers need to be updated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe that's better to be done in subcommittee, maybe it's better to be done as a whole committee, I don't really care either way, but I think it would be good if we kind of look through it and gave some recommendations for and to bring back to Kristen or whoever's doing the website now.
I'd love to do it as a whole committee. I think it would be good.
Would you want Kristen to come so she's getting it firsthand instead of?
I'll invite her, she might not be available, but I'll certainly invite her.
Further,
And I talked about maybe collaborating.
Yeah.
So that's.
That'd be great.
Another item, I was wondering if we could discuss what, some things we'd like for, Andrew Dollop to potentially get for us. I know last time we had asked guidance, like some of the things that they see as challenges for our students, like in the middle school. But we had asked him to kind of wait, and so he, had that day before to ask guidance, so if he could get, like just figuring out what we'd like to find out and the safety. I noticed we were doing the fire one, but we did speak about last year, we're gonna try to align with Yarmouth, how they deal with, they were like debating between Alice and like other things. And I'd imagine they came to a plan and we were saying we should do the similar plan here, so our students know it by the time they get to their event.
Anyone else?
I guess the only, I just want to make sure that, how we would communicate to parents if there's a hiccup with the after-school program, either with the rec or with something here, like if there's a day that, Penny is absent, I think you guys would probably cover the STEM one way or the other, or if the rec wasn't able to do it. I just know that it's such a critical piece for students, because some of them come in and they're talking about what they're going to do. And then if we know there's going to be a plan B, but we don't really know what it's gonna be, that sometimes generates anxiety for the kids, because then they don't know where they're gonna go or what they're gonna do. So I guess I want clarity from the rec, just to say, you know, like, once this begins, how will the information be communicated with the parents? Is it the rec's responsibility, or are we knowing it's our students going there? Just to make sure that this communication is really good, so no one's left with last minute.
Yeah, just to further on that, like, you know, I agree, like the rec, like we knew for a while the days we wanted rec. It was a challenge as a parent to get on Thursday that the rec program wasn't starting until September 19th. That's 2 weeks of trying to figure out after school care for 2 days. And we are like this, I think we are a small community. We have a lot of people that help out. We kind of assume. It's hard sometimes for parents to keep asking. And then 2, I'd imagine if you're a new family here, we're talking about sustainability for our families that don't know people or don't feel comfortable, that's can be a real hiccup if they have a job that they need care until 4. So so I think that piece on the rec side, I mean, if we knew the school one was established, but that was kind of a hard quick scramble.
At this juncture, in speaking with Steve, I'm not sure that they have people to fill those positions.
So really speaking with him, is the plan for them to have a plan, or are we?
No, they're responsible for those days, and he said that they'll fix it one way or the other. They'll have it. But it is, when I spoke to him a couple weeks ago, and they still over the year.
And I do, yeah, and I think that that's the point too, like, is it up to you to deliver that, or teachers to deliver that information to parents, or will the rec center start communicating to parents that these are after school programs?
What usually, I think what's happened in the past is they call over here and Kristen takes care of
Okay.
it. Just kind of the. Yeah.
So I see that you did send us a copy of the handbook,
Oh, yes.
and you mentioned it tonight. Did it go out to parents?
No, because that was one of the things we didn't. put on there. No, we did not.
Okay, is it something we can deal with tonight?
If people have read it,
I did review it, yeah.
we can make that adjustment to it. So,
I have a quick question about it. I just,
Yep.
I'm curious as to what any changes.
so I'm gonna, Courtney did a lot of legwork, and Nancy, and Ann, so they pretty much took care of it, so I'm gonna maybe directed questions to them.
Throw them at us.
I'm just curious, I wasn't familiar with the old one, so I'm curious about what changes.
We went
Oh.
through a lot, tried to make simpler, combine some, like technology was kind of like scattered around. We did do the menu bar on the side, you know, this Google Doc version. I don't know how we'll post it. It'll be a PDF or a Google Doc link, but I did make the link so anybody has access to it. And we also, I did link some of the policies that we have on our website under, so like harassment, you know, policies, I linked that policy to there, to read further. And then change kind of the front, like contact information. And did that, yeah, did that little.
Format all the way through.
Yeah. Yeah, so just read through each one, each state policy we went through.
Then,
In attendance, we also added, under attendance, the main state law around chronic absenteeism and truancy.
They did a lot of work, so thank you very much for that.
keeping in mind that to me, a handbook is always a work in progress. So, I think at this point, we just say, you know, accept it for now and. Constantly, I have a hard copy in my office to.
Do we need to vote on this?
Yes, so do I have a motion to accept the current?
I move that we accept the handbook as it's been updated by Courtney and. As presented here in the document of the email.
Have a second? Nancy, and any discussion about it? All in favor?
What to do on that? Get stuff out, come on.
And then Christine can then,
Yeah.
leave that to the website.
Yeah, so we're gonna put it on the website and send it to parents.
Well,
Will you-
we'll put it on the website and we'll ask parents if they want a hard copy.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah, there's no reason for 29
Pages.
yeah,
They can always print out a particular page if they need that reminder. If you guys are doing that, that's out for daily update. you can remind them.
Can be emailed parents?
And we can email it to parents.
Okay. Anyone have anything else for tonight?
Right, so our next meeting is the 19th.
I can do this.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
That should be,
Very great. You. The,
Oh, then, yeah.
yeah. Oh, you're. Yeah.
well, if we work hard on the 12th and.
That'd be new. Oh, yeah. That means like to.
Sorry, chicken scratch there.
Oh.
I'm glad that some happy, but I don't have it.
Yeah.
He's unhappy. That is right beside it.
Yeah. Pretty cheery, yeah.
And he's kind of excited about football.
Yeah.
I know, your wife told me that, and I was like, I did not expect that from him.
Yeah, no, it's totally out of the blue.
And how's he like?
Yeah.
I think it's good, he doesn't, you know, make it well, so it's, you know, it's been really working, whatever. It's just greater stuff.
That's like soccer, you know,
Yeah.
meet ball.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Learning the rules.
Yeah, he's, you know, he's socializing with the other kids.
Well, one of the, right now.
Yeah. Well, it's 11:30, except on Friday.
Now we can teach how to. But if it's just. Three kids in the.
Yeah.
You know, it's.
I was looking at.
So maybe something that's not like.
Yeah.
Change the margin. Well, yeah, well, unless you change, unless you change.
And put that read off.
Judy has me on it, so.
Well, no, we have.
So.
Oh, do we need a motion for that?
Yeah.
7:22.
I told you, I said, does anyone have anything else? No one said anything, so.
You just do,
Should be in there.
Yeah.
Just like this, become a white dove.
Yeah.
And it's just really fun.
Yeah.
I'm ready to get inspired.
Yeah.
Unless, you know, it's gonna, if you do it, then